With former NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose being fired by WWE due to her adult content, it seems she is making bank, as Fan Times official Instagram wrote. Congratulations to Mandy Rose for making $1 million in a month. Finished 2022 like a champ. Kurt Angle's ex-wife Karen Jarrett recently took to Twitter to set the record straight on her prior marriage and current one with Jeff Jarrett. As she wrote in a series of tweets, "We can start here. My marriage to Kurt was over long before Jeff and I started seeing each other. We were legally separated at the time Kurt signed with TNA, living in different homes. We got back together and I tried to get over the affairs, among other things, that went on in our marriage, but obviously wasn't able. Funny and sad how all of that has been swept under the rug over all these years. Jeff didn't steal me from anyone. Dawn Marie, Kelly, to name a few. I'm done living in fear of speaking the truth. Maybe Kurt will think twice before making threats, insulting / disrespecting my husband. I am done living in fear. I have 24 years of dirt I am ready to start unloading. I am done." Kurt Angle had mentioned his marriage with Karen, which was brought up by Max Caster in AEW. A fan would ask Karen, what threats did he make? Genuine question. All I saw was him saying not to use his name in a storyline 12 years later. Did he say something worse? Karen replied, not online. Those assuming those tweets were in response to another tweet. That is incorrect. Someone dug himself a hole offline. Maybe that will all be shared, maybe it won't. I do know I am done living in fear of the threats. Responding to accusations from Karen Jarrett regarding an affair with Kurt Angle, Kelly wrote her back on Twitter, "I keep linked in this tweet. I have DM'd Karen Jarrett to privately ask her, and I'm waiting for her response. But want to go ahead and publicly make a statement that only way I can be linked to Kurt is we were co-workers. Sorry, but thanks for the Monday morning entertainment." With Cody Rhodes currently the betting favorite to win the Royal Rumble, it appears his comeback will not be a surprise for the event. As Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio, "I'd always figured that Cody Rhodes' return would be a surprise at the Royal Rumble, but it's absolutely not going to be, as they're doing a multi-part series building up his return." As Matt Riddle has been out of action for a few weeks, many have speculated it could be due to him going into rehab. Regardless, the star is set for a return this year, as PW Insider said. Talents being locally advertised for the February 13th WWE Monday Night Raw at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York are Bobby Lashley, Bianca Belair, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Johnny Gargano, and Matt Riddle. No matches have yet been announced locally for the event. Dax Harwood recently started releasing episodes for his new podcast, but not everyone is a fan, as Brian Alvarez noted on Wrestling Observer Radio. "From what I heard from different people, not the people who you probably heard from, they were not particularly happy at all about this. All I heard the other day was how unhappy people were about that podcast." Speaking of that podcast, Dax Harwood would talk about the situation surrounding Sasha Banks and how she may have rubbed people the wrong way in WWE. She did take the women's tag team titles very seriously, but yeah, she took wrestling very seriously too. She did not get into wrestling just to get into wrestling, you know? She got into wrestling so she could make a difference. And not just for women's wrestling, but for all of wrestling. Sometimes, speaking from personal experience, pride can rub people the wrong way because you do stand up for what you believe in. You don't take no for an answer because you want the best for yourself. You want the best for your craft, your art form. You take it so seriously, man. It's a recipe for success. But also, a lot of people aren't going to like you because of it. I think that is what happened maybe to Sasha Banks. Speaking about the news of Mandy Rose earning $1 million on Fan Time last year, Booker T noted on his Hall of Fame podcast, "$1 million ain't gonna take care of you for a solid year if you're living large." I think Rose launching a Fan Time account was the wrong decision, and I stand by that because I feel that Mandy Rose's talent was so much more than her beauty. Charlotte Flair recently made her return to WWE on SmackDown and defeated Ronda Rousey to become champion, but it seems Ric Flair did not know she would be there, revealing on his podcast that "I was in the building and left and didn't know it. It was the first time in so many years that nobody knew. I was in the building. I went and saw Roman and John, and it was like the greatest time. I mean, I just really felt like part of the family again, man. I just had a ball, but I didn't even know. I left and went to American Social. Then I got word that she was there. Of course, I had had a couple of drinks with the hockey players. The hockey players like to drink, so I wasn't going to go back to the building. But I mean, I watched it, and they put it on every TV for me. It was amazing. That was really old school kayfabe. I'm thinking to myself how cool that was, because I don't remember that happening for a long time when there wasn't even an inkling of something like that. Then I'm reading in one of those wrestling things. The next thing is Bianca Belair is going to lose the belt to Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch is going to wrestle Rhea Ripley, and it just goes on and on. If any of that is true, I hope they don't beat Bianca, but if they do, I mean, it doesn't make any difference. It just goes to show you, if they really have their mindset on doing something and they keep it on the QT, they can do it. I think personally it's so much better for wrestling when they can do stuff like that and everybody can keep their mouth shut, because God only knows that's why she wouldn't tell me. She knows I got a big mouth, and she knows I would tell you. When it comes to a potential return to WWE for Naomi, Bryan Alvarez noted during Wrestling Observer Live that they're not going to New Japan, Naomi and Bayley. Of course, there is no official information on Naomi, but my impression is she will be returning to WWE. Actually, you can report that my belief is that she will be returning to WWE, because she will certainly be returning to WWE. I will just say that. Other than that, I don't know what is going on. With the former WWE star previously known as Sasha Banks debuting in New Japan and set to challenge Stardom champion Kairi Sane, apparently the AEW roster is expecting Mercedes Money to head to the promotion. We're told that upon arriving in Japan, Mercedes has been out socializing and in good spirits based on those that we spoke to. There were attempts from media outlets to land interviews, but we're told that would be up to Mercedes herself if she wished to do them. In speaking with some names in conjunction with the event, they know that Mercedes will be there, but still have not been told what exactly she's doing, as it's been kept very quiet. There are even other talent that spoke to her, and she didn't tell them what she'd be doing. Talent that Fightful speaks to in AEW tell us they've been no-sold when asking about Sasha Banks being Saraya's partner, but they're still of the belief it's her. The fact that it wasn't shot down either on screen or internally, promoting it a month out, it being a week after her Wrestle Kingdom appearance, and the cast of characters involved in the tag match were all points brought up to us by talent in the company when assuming it was her. However, one talent said they didn't believe a deal was done or could have been completed as of last week because of her contractual ties to WWE. Mercedes would also explain why she decided to attack Kairi at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm interested in many wrestlers, but the reason I decided to fight Kairi in the first place is because we have a past. February 18th, San Jose, New Japan. I think it will be the best match in Stardom history, so please look forward to it. With Charlotte Flair making a return to WWE on SmackDown and winning the women's title, Bully Ray made a suggestion for her on Busted Open Radio. How much does it suck to be Charlotte Flair right now, knowing that this is as good as you're ever going to be? Because she doesn't have anybody to get in the ring that's better than her. The only way Charlotte Flair will ever be any better than she is right now is if they let her wrestle men. If she's in there with Seth, she's going to learn something. If she's in there with Randy, she's going to learn something. During her discussion on WWE's The Bump, Charlotte Flair touched on becoming champion once again, saying, "So before I went away for 8 months, I always said that I don't really think about the number, and I never really cared about surpassing the number. But here I am now as a 14-time women's champion, and I'm like, yeah, I want to pass it. I don't know when, I don't know how. I mean, I know how, I'm going to do it, but I think I definitely want to surpass the number now." Recalling a time during Batista's days in Ohio Valley Wrestling, pro wrestling manager Kenny Bolin said on the Hannibal TV that the Animal was beat up in a locker room fight. I didn't get to see it personally. Slick Robbie D he can handle himself pretty good. He was probably the greatest athlete in the history of OVW. The other one who could have competed with him was Shelton Benjamin. When asked, did Slick Robbie D put the beat down on Batista, he responded, "Everyone I heard that saw it said Batista never had a chance." In some unfortunate news, the mother of Dustin Rhodes passed away as he took to Twitter to write, "I'm very sad to say that I lost my mama. She was an incredibly strong mother who was loving and resilient to her dying day. She taught me everything, and I am the man I am today because of her. I'm so saddened but so happy she is no longer in pain. Rest in heaven." Of course, we wish Dustin and his family all the best during this time. On the one-on-one podcast, Teddy Long spoke about the run Ronda Rousey has had thus far in WWE, where he would criticize her, saying, "I'm glad that you mentioned this because that is definitely how I feel. I don't think she cares anything about her business. I don't think she takes professional wrestling seriously. I think with her, it's all about Ronda Rousey. She's one of the people who will go into the business for themselves. So like I said, great person, but this business is different. You gotta take it real seriously." Executive Vice Presidents of AEW, the Young Bucks, are apparently in talks to sign new deals. With Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reporting, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks have been in discussions with All Elite Wrestling about new contracts. We don't have details, terms, or know if they've been signed, but them being in discussions has made its way through the locker room. The nature and length of All Elite Wrestling contracts has been the subject of much confusion based on initial reporting, when they started, and what these subjects themselves have said. Wrestling Observer had originally reported in January 2019 that Cody and the Young Bucks had all signed 5-year deals, but Cody left after 3 in early 2022. It would be added by Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio that their contract is up at the end of the year, and AEW does want to lock them in. AEW contacted them and wants to start the negotiations, but there have been no negotiations as of today, and they're certainly not close to a deal. Right now, that's where it's at. It's similar to when we talked about a couple of months ago with Jericho. Jericho had time left, but they signed him to a new deal. They have not started negotiations yet, but AEW has contacted them saying that they want to sign them to a new deal, a multi-year deal, so that's where the Young Bucks story is at right now. When it comes to a return to Sasha Banks for Mercedes, it was said on Wrestling Observer Radio that I also know from WWE that they are very strongly under the impression that she will not wrestle for AEW. They think that she's coming back at some point, and she'll get this out of her system, and she'll do her New Japan matches, because she's only contracted for a couple of matches. And if she's going to AEW, she has to sign for 3 years minimum, because why bother if she's going back? For AEW, it would be really stupid to put her on television if she's going back in 6 months. I don't know that she wants to make that commitment that she can't go back. With it announced on AEW Dynamite last night that Toni Storm will be Soraya's tag team partner next week, it seems Mercedes Money will not be making her way to AEW at this time, as it was said by Dave Meltzer that she is not in Los Angeles. She is not coming to AEW. I don't think she wants to make that commitment, because if she goes to AEW, it's a long commitment. I've heard denials from AEW people in the match. They knew that it was really screwed. That's why they had to announce somebody this week, because they knew it was really screwed, because everybody was thinking that it was her, and it wasn't her. While former head of talent relations John Laurinaitis was set to be making an appearance after being fired by WWE, it seems that he will no longer be doing so, as Bobby Fulton wrote on Twitter. Yesterday, we announced John Laurinaitis would be doing an appearance with Big Time Collectibles. Upon announcement, we received only negative feedback. After much consideration, we have decided to not work with him. We apologize to those that were offended by us working with him. When talking about CM Punk's current status with AEW, Eric Bischoff said this on his Strictly Business podcast. "I'm going to call him Philip because he's no longer a wrestler. He's no longer going to be in AEW this year." Kevin Nash would say something very similar on his podcast previously about Punk, as he noted, "I hate to beat a dead horse. I'm going to go with our friend Phil. I'm not even going to call him CM Punk anymore because he doesn't work anymore." WWE has now acknowledged that Mercedes is no longer a part of the company, moving her profile to the alumni section of their website. Fans would react to Vince McMahon returning to WWE online as they wrote, "If Vince McMahon takes back the control of WWE creative, kiss goodbye to all the recent progress under Triple H. If he's just handling the business side of things, while it looks terrible from a PR standpoint, the on-screen product hopefully shouldn't suffer. I'll be concerned if he starts wedging himself back into creative. Good God. Had to know it was too good to be true. Hopefully he just sells it at this point. WWE has been better than it's been in a long time, and now he's back to end that. Fed is done. Stay home, Grandpa." No. For all the complaining you have to listen to, I'd really like cancel culture to have lasting consequences like one time. It's doomsday, yes it is. After threatening to sue a YouTuber for alleging that his CRYPTOZOO venture is a scam, Logan Paul has now addressed this subject in a new video where he said, "Hey y'all, just wanted to update you. I deleted my initial response to Coffee's series. It was rash and misaligned with the true issue at hand. So I called him today and apologized. The war is not with Coffee. In fact, I'm grateful he brought this to light. I will be taking accountability, apologizing, and coming forward with a plan in the near future. Thank you all for believing in this project and sticking with me. I know it's been bumpy, but your support is everything to me and I will make this right." It seems prior to his comeback to WWE and claiming the day-to-day for the company would not change, Vince McMahon apparently wanted more, as Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio. I think everybody kind of is looking at this going like, that really what's going to happen, and being very skeptical of that in the long run, because Vince wanted it back to run the thing. I mean, that's what he wanted. That's what he was looking for a week ago, so he didn't get that. Also on Wrestling Observer Radio, it was said that higher-ups were not blindsided by McMahon's return. All the members of the board were all aware of everything that was happening. Obviously, they knew because they wrote the letter. Vince McMahon wrote the first letter, and then they wrote the letter on December 27th. But there was an awareness of this for some time, that he was trying to get back, and obviously, they were trying to block him from getting back. So, you know, the idea that the top people were blindsided by Vince's move, well, obviously, they weren't blindsided, because they knew he was trying, and because they knew what he could do to get in. As far as some people are worried, like the recent hires, people that Vince fired that are now back, the answer is that they probably knew for some time that it was a possibility. When it comes to WWE looking for a potential buyer now that Vince McMahon is back on the board, Alex Sherman of CNBC reported that WWE has hired JP Morgan to help the company advise on a potential sale. If a deal occurs, it would likely occur in the next 3 to 6 months, said the People, who asked not to be named because the discussions are private. WWE plans to talk to potential buyers before it makes a decision on TV rights renewal agreements. Talking about potential buyers for WWE, the website listed Comcast, NBCU's parent company, Netflix, Amazon, Endeavor Group Holdings, UFC's parent company, Warner Bros. Discovery, TNT, and TBS's parent company, Disney, and Fox. Front Office Sports reported that Saudi Arabia is a viable partner for WWE, with it said that Saudi's public investment fund is emerging as a possible bidder. Events in Saudi have reportedly generated $400 million in ticket sales and merchandise. It seems that Vince McMahon is not in the WWE HQ, as Dave Meltzer stated on Wrestling Observer Radio. I don't think he's coming back to TV. I mean, the word is he's not. The word is he's not even returning to his office. We'll see how long that lasts. Also on Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer mentioned that there are more details on Vince McMahon coming back to the board of directors that are being kept from the public. If there had to be a rubber stamp vote to sell the company, it's not like they would reject him, because all the stuff that happened in the last week, they're trying to present a unified company. They're also happy that Vince McMahon is back and how wonderful it is. Like again, on December 27th, that board voted unanimously that we don't want you back, and noted that one of the reasons is there is stuff that the people don't know that hasn't come out. I don't know what that is, but they mentioned it is one of the reasons him coming back wasn't the best. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.